Okay, quick video to show you guys how to sim. So the first thing you're going to need is Simulation Craft. It's an add-on that allows you to copy data from inside the game and put it into raid bots in order to sim. So you'll get Simulation Craft by Nav from any add-on program, WowUp or CurseForge or whatever it is, or you can get it manually from CurseForge. Then you'll load up the game, and inside the game you'll type /simc. You'll control C this data, and just to show you what this is it saves all the data about your character, which includes like your different talent loadouts and all of the gear you're wearing, plus all of the gear in your bags. You see like some of this gear is gear from bags. So that's so you can sim your different talent builds and the different gear that you've acquired. Okay, so I'm just gonna real quick show you two ways to sim. The first one's called Top Gear. This is going to be used for simming gear that's in your bags. So let's say I had deleted this. I can put Control V to paste it. And just to show you, this is all the data that we saw before. Okay, so now that it has the data, there's a lot going on here. But just to simplify it, this part is just to make sure that if you wanted to sim something at the same item level, you could do that. And then also you could optimize with how much currency you got. It's a little bit excessive. The point is that if you want to control for item level, you can do that. I'm not going to, just as an example. So we want to know, I'm just going to, as an example, sim this helm and this shoulder against what I'm wearing, okay? So what I just need to do is tell raidbots to include this. So this will make it sim the helm and, sorry, the two helms that I'm wearing, or that I have, one that I'm wearing, one that's in my bags, and it'll tell me, okay, which one is better. If I include the shoulder pads, it's also going to do that with the shoulders, but it'll do every variation. So there will be 4 basically outputs of the sim, and it'll tell me which one is the highest DPS. You can do this for as many pieces as you want, except that there's an iterations limit if you're not logged into raid bots and pay them a fee. You have to, so you have to do like more sims. But anyways, I digress. Down here is if you wanted to add enchants or override your enchants, you can do that. It's extra layer. Same thing with gems. If you want to add gems or override your gems, you can do that later. This is if you wanted to sim different builds. So you would just click all the builds that you'd want to sim beyond the build that you're currently wearing. You can do that, but we'll do that later. The final bit here is the style of sim. The main thing that you would ever touch here is, are you simming a patchwork single target boss, one boss, patchwork, or do you want to sim dungeon slice, which is like simulates a dungeon where there are bosses and trash. So you need to have both AoE and single target. For the most part, just sim patchwork single target. That will obviously accomplish most things that you need for raid, unless there's a boss where there's a ton of AoE or 2 targets all the time, etc. You'll hit find top gear. So you'll let this sim run, and it'll go pretty quickly because Top Gear sims are pretty quick, and we didn't do a ton of iterations, so it'll be pretty quick. And we'll get the quick output here. And so here it is. So this part might look confusing, like it's showing me the talents or whatever, but you just scroll down to the bottom and you can see that it's telling me that the top gear above is the best gear. Shocker is the gear that I'm wearing. It's obviously higher item level, so that makes it better. But you can see, like, okay, if I used the 584 shoulder, I would do 0.3% less damage. If I use the helm, it would be 0.6, and if I use the helm and the shoulder, it'd be 1%. You can click these to see relative. So let's say I was actually wearing this part on the bottom. Then I could see, oh, you know, putting on the helm that I'm actually wearing, but let's say it was just in my bags, and the shoulder, same thing. Oh, it's actually a 1% upgrade. So you could click different ones to see the relative DPS. Now the other sim is pretty easy, but I ran it beforehand because it took a while to run. So this is like if you're going into raid, you're going to do a Droptimizer sim. This will basically sim every boss from the raid and all of the loot and tell you if it's the best. So you'll input your SimC here, and then you'll tell it, oh, I want to go whatever you're doing. So in this case, Nerebar Palace. Normal, sounds good, that's what we're going to do. And it will sim, you can see it's simming all of the loot that's in the dungeon. Okay? Now, one thing that I will tell you For this one, you can't change the talent loadout, okay? Very easily. So you just want to make sure that when you copy your SimC from in-game, that you're in the build that you want to sim. This is my AoE build, so obviously if I want to sim the loot from Raid as it relates to Raid, then I would want to switch to my single target build and then type /SimC and copy, okay? It's not a hard thing to do, it's not that tricky, but just remember, since you're not able to select your build like the other one, you would have to do that before you paste your SimC, or before you copy it rather. Okay, so you'll just come down here, same thing, looks very similar, and you'll hit the Droptimizer. Now, I already ran it because it takes a while, so this is what it looks like. So you can do it by priority, like which bosses give you the most loot, boss order, blah, blah, blah. So you can see, I'll just look at it by boss order. So you can see from the first boss, it simmed every piece of loot. Everything is like a small upgrade, except for this weapon, because it's a downgrade for me. Great. And then you can see, like, maybe on the later bosses, this is like the last boss, oh, you know, this rare finger is a pretty good upgrade, and blah, blah, blah. And so you can just see, and you'll know, if you do this before every raid, you can, when, you know, Rashan drops, you know, 17 cloaks, you know that all 17 are an upgrade. That's basically it. There's a bit more if you want to get more involved, but as like a basic thing, that's how you sim the two, you know, Top Gear and Droptimizers.